Oh, hello. Yes, well, good grief, that was windy. Rather got the wind up my cat, and rather got the wind up my neighbourhood. Yes. As my heart goes out to those of you that would further north, or indeed further east or west or something closer to the coast than I am, because, well, it was windy enough here. Yeah. Anyway, today we will be talking about getting winds up and the classic time of year that it is. One's festive spirit goes out to slagging off wokists' adverts. Yes, and the latest one, of course, is the Boots advert, which loads of people are very pretending to be upset about because apparently it features loads of tinsel and the occasional person who doesn't look entirely heterosexual, and the certain central character who's a woman of colour. Boo hiss, can't have women of colour, and not particularly this one because apparently she has opinions and she's a bad woman. So what you need to do is boycott Boots. Okay, let's get that one straight out the way. I think that'll be a very good idea. Yes, very handy shop to have in the high street, but don't go there. That way there'll be more space for me. Thank you. Yes, did have to smile at Toby Young suggesting that we read an article which outlines about how the Boots advert will bring about the end of Western civilization naturally through the process of destroying the family. Of course it will. Having been doing me reading about English rebellious history, it's really astounding the number of times in the past that anybody who wants to change anything is accused of destroying the family. It was put in different ways in the past, of course, but left-wingers traditionally have wanted to get rid of the notion that women should be owned, which is effectively where that one historically comes from. But, you know, that's just me knowing things and being wrong, presumably. Anyway, yes, moving on from that, of course. I mean, we did have a lot of very other frothy things over the weekend. Did have to smile at Elon Musk. Just briefly, because he's not very funny, let's face it. Yeah, you've seen him on Saturday Night Live. Anyway, yeah, I'm putting this up. And having pronouns in a fantasy video game is utterly unacceptable. Well, no, Elon, actually calling those things video games is utterly unacceptable because you're not 12. And a grown man who's basically trying to rule the world shouldn't be doing such things. But that's another story, okay? Yeah, we all do, but we don't boast about it, do we? Well, unless you're the Lotus Eaters, obviously. But what Elon is upset about, of course, is the notion that people shouldn't be as wonderfully heterosexual as him. Yes, no wonder he's not talking to his kids, eh? Still, for Christmas time of year, not talking to your kids, kind of traditional, especially for him, one can imagine. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, this whole thing, I mean, about, okay, you know, if you don't like things, then don't buy them. You know, that's surely the whole point of living in our wonderfully choice-rich capitalist society is just don't buy them. I personally think that somebody should bring out a game called White Supremacist Beats Up Everybody They Don't Like, including blacks and the feminists, but at the same time have a selection of pronouns at the beginning so they can't play it, which would be hilarious. Yes, wouldn't it? Just to take the rip out of them, which isn't hard, let's face it, and it is going to become an awful lot easier, of course, once Elon Musk actually is in government with all the rest of them, the choice picks that certainly everybody would think, that's my choice pick for that particular role. Anyway, talking of government and choice picks, we also had a huge meltdown by the usual suspects, and by the usual suspects I mean anybody with vague links to the Reform Party, or the Conservative Party I suppose, at the weekend. Anyway, because magically, yes, magically, I know I'm going to overuse that word, but still, anyway, not magically, absolutely, there has been a petition, which is, yes, to call a general election. Yes, okay. So Ben Habib and Richard Tice and Loza Fox and pretty much all the rest of them were very much on that idea that we should now call a general election because apparently Keir Starmer's Labour Party isn't very popular. Shock, horror. Yes, I know I've been saying that for the last 2 or 3 years. At the moment they arrive, they won't be very popular, but that's just, again, me knowing things, isn't it? Like you do, yeah. But anyway, yeah, apparently it's past, I don't know, 100, 200, 300, whatever. And apparently what that means, therefore, is that in Parliament they'll have to have a debate about it. Keir Starmer will realise how wrong he is in his Keir Stalinist thing, being a socialist like he definitely is if we stretch the word beyond any form of meaning whatsoever, and we'll simply call a general election, and then Nigel Farage can become Prime Minister, because he really, really should, rather than spending time in Clacton or indeed on his huge estates in the country. Anyway, but yeah, this definitely will happen, of course, because we've just had an election, and anyway, apparently people voted the wrong way, but now they should vote the other way, because that's what we need, and it's very important according to these people, and they're going to get very cross about it if we don't have a petition. It'll just prove how bad things are. They were the people, of course, that insisted we couldn't have another vote on Brexit, but apparently just literally 4 months after we've had a vote in Parliament for parliamentarians, apparently we should just ditch all that. But I mean, where are these people at in terms of any form of reality? Since when are either new incoming Labour or Tory MPs going to go, yeah, all right, I think it's really important that I basically lose my seat after a few months? It isn't really going to happen, is it? And if you don't agree with the result of a general election, yeah, fine, don't buy into it then. Yeah, don't play that particular game, which we might call computer game. Or not. It's up to you. I don't really care. But don't bother me with it. There's democracy. Live with it. But of course they can't. Because, in essence, this is the politics of being 12, whereby things aren't perfect enough. Boo, hiss. I don't like that black woman. Get me a different one. In fact, no, get me a white woman. No, don't get me a woman. Just get me a bloke. A bloke that plonks a PlayStation 5 in front of me that's £5 off, and then I'll be happy, because at heart I am 12. Yes, you know who you are, all of those males that I regularly slag off. But by God, they're snowflake little dears, aren't they? Anyway, do have a joyous Christmas advert, won't you? Yes, as people have rightly been pointing out, the reason why the Boots Christmas advert is so good is because it speaks to those people that do everything at Christmas, yeah? All of those women that do all the work, because the blokes are just sat there whinging about their PlayStation 5 not connecting properly. Oh, to be an adult in this land of ours. Do have a beautiful Monday, if you can.